Yo, what's going on, Nomads and Drifting Podcast listeners? I'm Brian.
And I'm Monica.
And welcome to the Backspace Nomads podcast, where we talk about our nerd for gaming, movies, and all the dork in between. On today's podcast, we're talking about Fallout 76, PUBG versus Fortnite Deuce, and what's going on with the movie Solo. This is episode 61 of the podcast. It's June 3rd. Let's start the show.
Good job.
Fucking nailed it. Monica, what have you been up to?
I had an awesome interaction with some fellow nerds and geeks. I went over to a bar that my friend bartends at, and she knows pretty much everybody up in Cleveland. And one of the girls that is in that circle ended up being the GM for a local arcade bar.
Okay.
In the area. There's one in Columbus. There's one up in Cleveland. It's called 16-bit. And I just started nerding out. I don't know. I'm not normally, a lot of people I think are oftentimes surprised when I start talking about my interests and what I like to do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think people automatically assume that I would be playing video games. I mean, if I'm wearing like a really goofy shirt or something, then yes, but most of the time, no. So it was really great. I ended up opening up and talking to this group of people that I didn't really know. We were talking about how we met so many. I talked about you, how I had gone out to visit you, and how we'd started this podcast. And they were talking about how they've met. They did. They said, wow, Brian just seems like just the second coming of Christ. And then we went and moved on.
That's the nicest thing someone's ever said about me.
And then we moved on and started talking about their interactions with their friends. I don't know. It was just really great. It's one of those things where I don't know if it's because I was so socially, I was like awkward as in my youth, but a lot of times in social situations, unless I'm comfortable with the people that I'm with in brand new situations, it takes me a little while to like rev up.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And but when it does happen, I feel like it's always so magical when you meet people that are like-minded in the gaming community. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Have we ever talked about bar arcades on this podcast yet? I forget.
I feel like we have. I don't remember what episode it would be. I think it was earlier on. But this one's doing great. I mean, they've expanded a few times over. They're going to be opening one up in Nashville. They just recently opened up one up in Dublin. So yeah. I told her that she needs to go out there and check on the place, make sure it's running well, and then bring me with her. But
do they need special guest stars to make appearances at these arcades?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm kind of famous, so please let me in. But yeah, it was just great. It was great. How about you? How was your week?
Pretty good. I officially hit a milestone. You know, on the stream, I stream tons and I played nothing but Fortnite. And I finally had something happen that hasn't happened to me since I was a young kid, a young lad. I achieved happiness again. I hit 300 hours in Fortnite, which I have not done since I think World of Warcraft. So I don't know if that's a good achievement or one that's like, what are you doing with your life type of achievement? But I have played 300 in-game hours of Fortnite, and it feels so good.
Brian, I feel like you have played 1,000 hours of Fortnite by now. I'm surprised it's only 300. Not to like poo-poo on your accomplishment here.
Yeah.
But you stream a lot of hours.
Yeah, I definitely put in like, 50 to 60 hours a week in that game. And I don't know why, like it's actual in-game hours though. It's a little bit different, It's like when you're actually in the game, you're not queued. Like there's always like little things.
Got it.
We're past the point. I've been in character, like fighting people for 300 hours. And it's like, you get to a point in a game. I'm not sure if you ever experienced this, where you understand it as more than just a game. You like get deep with it. You know why all the mechanics, why certain characters move a certain way, the timing on the animations, like, what another player is going to do just because like, their legs start moving and the rest of the way that animation finishes. So you know what to do. Like, it feels good to finally be back.
You can basically see the future. That's what's happened.
You can kind of see the future. You can do it.
Oh my goodness.
Doesn't look good for us. I'm just telling you that right now. This whole thing we got going on 2018 doesn't finish well. This is like X-Men apocalyptic.
Jesus, you hit 300 hours and you have the prophecy now.
Yeah. That's my nickname in game, the Prophet, you know? That's what they all call me. So that's all I've been doing. Which is why, like, our first topic of the night, I'm a little, like, revved up about it. I'm a little fired up. PUBG versus Epic. Let's set up a little bit of context for this. The creators of PUBG, Bluehole, have officially filed lawsuit in Seoul, Korea through their court system, South Korea, suing Epic Games. And
yes,
we talked about this before on the podcast.
We did.
And I can't believe it's actually happening.
So my thought process when we talked about this before was that there's no way that the cost of legal would be worth it. However, the games have blown up to such insane proportions that I feel like a really good lawsuit is just a little blip on the revenue radar. So I was totally wrong there. I was thinking more logical and like someone who's, making, a decent but nowhere near upper class salary.
Yeah.
Not a company that sold over 4 million games. But so I was thinking that they were not going to want to deal with a lawsuit. It would just be lost money. Who knows, like with this type of context, with them looking at copyright, how far it would go. I feel like we're a little bit more aggressive on the
me.
Well, I'll let you talk to how you felt. I thought that they had some. I understood why they were irritated with why Bluehole was irritated with Epic. PUBG was irritated with Fortnite. I understood that, but I just didn't think it was going to go anywhere because I didn't think it was worthwhile legally.
Yeah, and just to compliment you, I think you're spot on there in terms of monetary terms, right? Because law is money, and that's like something you understand once you get into business. Whoever has the biggest piggy bank is going to win the lawsuit. It's just kind of the way it goes. I don't understand how they have grounds to sue them for any reason. Like, what are they suing them for? It's hard to find an article that pinpoints the exact reason that they're doing it for. And we brought it up before. To me, it's like there's nothing at all that you could sue for, because this is what every game company does. You take a game, you kind of alter a little bit, you slap a new coat of paint on there, and you call it your own game. And then all the game developers just go along with the system and high five each other while they're all making money. I'm blown away that this is actually happening. They actually filed a lawsuit in Korea. I think that's a very shrewd move by them too, to use it in the South Korea court system, because no one in the gaming industry, in terms of the press, have any idea what the South Korean law system is about.
Yeah, that's apparent just because it's very, very difficult to find out exactly what is in the suit itself. I was not able to find the suit. We'll keep our eye out for it. But, the grievances definitely seem to lie in the fact that they took the name Battle Royale. They utilized PUBG to promote Fortnite. The fact that PUBG was working with them using Epic's Unreal engine, and that there are similarities beyond the basic the basic concept. You have 100 players, you have a shrinking circular zone. That's what they're going after them for. And I am really very surprised. I am a little bit in awe that they're going for it. And I am excited. Like,
you're in awe. You're inspired by these people.
I am in awe. I kind of want to see what's going to happen. They have a lot of money, and I feel like they're just like, this is like esports, but like legal esports.
All the lawyers are getting like pumped up, just like cheering.
Yeah.
Let's go. They're all sitting at bars getting nuts. I'm ashamed of you, Mark. I'm ashamed of you.
Oh, okay. Well,
this is how I know you're a businesswoman. I mean, obviously, this isn't like top 5 ashamed of Monica moments for me, but we're definitely hitting top 10 at least.
Oh, okay.
So we're in there. I just like they're saying the Epic is riding their wave of success or whatever, right? First off, from the articles that I kind of perused throughout the week, I can't tie down the specific number, but I know that there is a 40% drop in PUBG's usership in a recent article. So that's the entire reason why they're doing this now. They have seen a significant hit to their player base that is pretty scary, right?
But they filed back in January.
I thought they were talking about it in January. I thought they just filed now.
I thought that they filed. Well, I could be wrong. I thought that they filed in January, and it's just now hitting.
Oh, like it's worked just waiting
news.
The court
like
system.
They just found out about it, which I thought might be why they filed in South Korea. I mean, they do do a lot of development work,
right.
In South Korea, but I thought maybe they specifically filed there, and it just didn't leak out until now. I could be wrong.
We have the hot scoop way back in 33.
I feel like when we were talking about this last, that lawsuit was either filed that week or shortly after.
Gotcha.
We'll have to, we'll look it up and we'll add it onto a little blip at the end of this.
No, we won't.
This cast.
Nevertheless,
I'll do it.
And nevertheless, the idea that like Epic is like using their ideas and stuff is just poppycock. Okay, like H1Z1 was the battle royale that blew up the genre. You know, this all comes from a DayZ mod that was called Battle Royale. I forget the exact name of it, but then H1Z1 made a full-on game that was called H1Z1 Battle Royale, which similar to Fortnite started off as a PvE game and then they spun it off into a Battle Royale system.
You're forgetting about Arma.
Arma, that's what it was, not DayZ. It was Arma. Arma had the mod that was a Battle Royale mod.
Yes, and then they put it to H1Z1.
Yes.
But the lead developer for the Arma 3 mod was a consultant for H1Z1. That's why they still named it that, because he was consulted and worked on that project.
What?
His hands are in everything Battle Royale. Everything Battle Royale, his hands have been on.
Except the most successful one. That's a mighty fine high horse that this guy's riding on. That thing that he thinks that they can only call it a Battle Royale when he's involved. Because guess what? This is based off a movie. A movie did this gimmick first, and he took it and was like, that'd be fun in a video game. You're not some genius, like, holier-than-thou idea guy, Einstein of the gaming industry that has this, like, great idea for a video game. Like, just stop. They should not be suing Epic for Fortnite because, like, the weapons they use, like, sure, they have the standard AR and the AK-47s and the SCARs and the shotguns. That's in every shooter ever.
Yeah.
But Fortnite innovated the genre way more than PUBG innovated on anything that came before it, adding this entire building system, adding unique and innovative items like launch pads and trap systems and stuff like that. This is all new stuff. Like, if anything, this is the one game that they have the least amount of case to sue. It is such a unique game within the Battle Royale genre that I like, what are they doing? Like, it is just, they're embarrassing themselves.
Yeah, I feel like the games do have pretty extensive differences. Just, I mean, I said this when we first brought it up, and I'll say it again. It's a different dynamic. There's a younger group of players that enjoy Fortnite in general. PUBG is more tactical, and I do not think that the competition between the two. It's just like, they're similar, but Fortnite's very fast paced. PUBG is slower paced and more tactical. I just do not see them as the same game, or even I understand that they're the same idea, but the gameplay and the dynamics to me are very different.
I'll tell you what,
but I still think, like, you know, it's like, regardless of you know, your viewpoints on PUBG or Fortnite, I will say, and you can be disappointed in me, I feel like it's like those two friends that got too drunk at a bar and all of a sudden they start poking one another, you know, like, you know, like, it's just like a little jab here and a little jab there, and you start getting more and more angry, and then all of a sudden it's like fuck you, mate. And then you just go for it. And that's what I feel like this lawsuit is. And I want to see where this bar fight ends.
Oh, man. I just think it's a bad look. It's a bad look. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm all down for a pub fight. And then I just call it a pub fight like I'm some English lad, right? You said Dublin earlier. Now I'm jonesing for a nice Irish excursion for the Nomads. All right. So who do you think is going to win this? Because I think, one, you should be called as a character witness for Epic, because that was a pretty good defense. PUBG or Epic, who do you think's got the better case?
I do not think that PUBG will win.
Okay.
I think they may end up just settling.
Settling?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a hot take, say that Epic countersues and takes way more money and then pulls their license, and then PUBG doesn't have a game. That's just my fanboy dream that this happens. Okay. Because I'm really tired of
it's a bold prophecy that you've just rang upon us.
I see the future, Monica. 300 hours. Let's move on to other games that we spent many hours loving. The Fallout series.
Yeah.
This is a huge announcement right before E3. Bethesda decided to announce their new Fallout game by having a 24-hour live Twitch stream on a please hold on screen, like the old school, like TV, like waiting emergency type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They did it for 24 hours, and then eventually they revealed it. Fallout 76, a brand new Fallout title, is coming to be announced at E3. This was the trailer. Did you watch the trailer?
I did.
How excited were you?
I was pretty excited, but it was short.
It was short.
But I did feel like it had this dynamic where it seemed unique in comparison to the other trailers. And it prompted me to look into it further. Obviously it was short, so I was like, I need more information, but it just didn't seem the same. There was elements of it where I'm like, what kind of game is this going to be?
Right.
But what do you think of the trailer?
I was so excited. Like, my girlfriend was next to me watching it, and she doesn't know my full love of the Fallout series because she's only been with me for Fallout 4, which wasn't like my favorite Fallout, but I love the Fallout series. And so when they started doing it, this felt like the Fallout 3 trailer a little bit. I was like grabbing her arm, I was shaking, I was like screaming, like getting super excited about this stuff. I was pumped. I don't know what it is about trailers nowadays. They get me excited. Maybe it's because I'm becoming an adult and I need to get excited for things for that meaning. But I was completely pumped for this trailer. What is it? Reclamation Day was like they had banners and parties and streamers going off inside of it.
That did feel neat. Yeah, I did enjoy that. I was like, well, what is this? What is this going to be?
This is like the first like vault that's like done its like completion, right? Like, you know, this is the day we open the vault, the Reclamation Day, but no one was in there. So it's like, what's going on?
Yep. So one of the things that I found out when I was looking up Fallout 76 is that there is a rumor. The people that are saying this are on the inside, but they don't want their names to be out there. So,
you know, be fired.
They don't want to be fired. But is this legit? I don't know. This is supposed to be a survival RPG. Inspired by games like DayZ and Rust.
I'm there.
I got goosebumps when I read that. I got more goosebumps when I read that than I did watching the trailer.
Yeah.
I was like, I will play that 100%.
You know, in Fallout 4, they had like kind of a building system that kind of felt like Rust-esque. Like they were like dipping their toes in the water. And the whole time I was playing it, I was like, I wish this building and stuff like meant more to me as a character and as a player. So a Fallout Rust style game. Oh, I can't, like, I'm there. Like, why has it taken this long for them to do it? Like, why wasn't Fallout 4 that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that is. I mean, I'm very excited about Fallout 76. I can't wait to see at E3 more details on it.
Mhm.
But I will say that I was let down by Fallout 4. I was excited about Fallout 4. I invested in the game. I truly enjoyed making some of the most hideous characters I'd have ever created in game. Lots of good customizable features. And then after I jumped into the game itself, it was a slow but steady disappointment to me.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get into it. I wanted to, but I had a really hard time getting into Fallout 4. And so, you know, initially when you said, hey, you got to go check out this trailer for Fallout 76, I was kind of like, then I saw the trailer and I was like, maybe I care a little bit. Maybe this means something to me, but I don't know. And then I read that it's going to be a survival RPG. And if that is true, I am freaking down. I'm there and we got to play together.
We have to. I'm so ready to play that. Some of the stuff I found out from a little bit of digging, Fallout 76 has been mentioned in previous Fallout titles, and some of like the deep lore inside the computers and stuff. This is a vault that was set to open up 20 years after the initial explosion. So it's like an experimental vault with a control that was supposed to be a test. And that 20 years is way before any of the Fallout series have ever been placed. So we're going to be experiencing like a whole new area where like, you know, the California Republic stuff, maybe that hasn't been set up, you know.
Oh,
this is a whole like society might be falling down around us at this point. We're like, we do not know what the world's going to look like when we're coming out of that vault. Like, I am pumped for this game. Genius strokes.
I'm getting goosebumps again.
You got them goosebumps?
I really am.
Yeah. And like, this is a super fast title to come out after Fallout 4. It felt like we waited forever between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. This is like very, very quick turnaround, maybe less than 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that almost has to do with kind of the hits that Bethesda took on Fallout 4 is why they're doing this one so fast.
Yeah. Why do you think that? You think that they're just trying to make a comeback before they...
Yeah, I think that they feel like they have to do some damage control before Fallout 5. Maybe they know Fallout 5 is like way down the line for them. And or maybe they just feel like, I mean, they're obviously building this on top of Fallout 4's engine. So maybe that's why it was such a fast turnaround with production and stuff. Because like we already have a building system. We just have to optimize it, expand it. But I do think creatively they felt like they didn't do a great job on Fallout 4. Like the world looked beautiful, but the story was kind of let down. And I think this one, if it's like a survival RPG, you don't have to do a lot of story for it to be a great game. You just have to set it, like let everyone like refresh their palates on the Fallout world, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot. Like when you start working through all of these like franchises and stuff and you keep going deep, you get a little burnt out on them. And like this fast of a Fallout game, are you going to experience a little Fallout fatigue or are you refreshed, you know?
Yeah, so I think it just depends on how you feel about the previous game. And I think that we have so many franchises out there that are, you know, churning out content to us in some shape or form that it's easy to jump ship and pay attention elsewhere. You know, it's kind of like who's treated you best most recently, you know? It's confusing. It's a little confusing because some of the names that you once loved and you want to stay loyal to, you know, they're slacking a little bit, you know?
Absolutely.
It's your birthday and they forgot it, you know? It's your anniversary and they came home drunk at 4 a.m. Like, what's going on here? You know, where are we even together anymore? Fallout? What was up with 4? Oh, you're going to come back? Okay, you know, I still love you, baby, but like, treat me right, you know?
Who hurt
you?
But I do. What the hell's going on here?
I'm just opening up to our listeners.
Oh, okay.
But I do think that franchise fatigue in general is happening for a lot of people in a lot of different realms.
Definitely. Like, you want to talk about forgetting stuff. Do you know that Solo came out this week? The Han Solo movie was actually released this week because it didn't make it in my plans.
It did not make it into my plans. And that is a perfect example because let me tell you how much I love Han Solo.
Please tell me.
I love him. Maybe not as much as some of the other male characters that we talk about in this podcast on occasion, but I love Han Solo and I do not want them to hurt him for me.
You feel like you don't want to be exposed to the real story.
I feel like I'm going to be hurt by the quality of the film itself. Okay. And I am very hesitant to go. I know I have to, but it's almost just like opening up that conversation that I'm not really sure if I'm ready to have.
Right.
I have not missed any Star Wars film. This is the first one that I haven't gone to see opening day. And it's like I'm working myself up to it.
Yeah.
It seems weird, but I really feel that way.
I don't think you're the only one in that situation because, well, for one, I know personally I'm kind of the same way. And here's some numbers from the weekend. This last weekend, which is the huge Memorial weekend, this only brought in $29.3 million. It's gross less than $150 million in the last 2 weeks. This is, I think they said Rogue One at this point had already made close to $400 million.
Yeah.
I think everyone's a little bit fatigued on Star Wars or let down by the series.
Yeah. It's been rated not super well. I think the last I checked on Rotten Tomatoes, well, actually, I'll just check right now. It hasn't been doing very well. I believe on IMDb, it's at like 7.1%.
7.1% for a Star Wars movie. You're telling me that there is a nerd base out there who are diehard fans of a series and there's not enough of them to put it above 7.1?
Yeah, so 7.2% on IMDb and 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. It just hasn't been super well received in comparison to others. And most of the time, those numbers tend to trickle down over time. But initially, it's kind of this like boom of positivity. Not in this case. These numbers have stayed pretty solid over the last week and a half.
So, okay. Do we think, or do you think, like, what's your opinion? Do you think this is franchise fatigue of the Star Wars franchise? Do you think it's nerd fatigue? Because literally it was like Avengers, Deadpool, Solo. It was like back to back to back releases, right? Every weekend had a new nerd movie. Or do you think that the franchise or the Star Wars fans feel a little bit let down in the side of the franchise now?
To be honest, I think it's probably a combination of all of those. I think it would depend on who you talk to. I think with the Avengers and Deadpool, the previous experiences with those films have been positive. A lot of people have been frustrated by, the last couple Star Wars films. Rogue One, was hit or miss for people. I thought it was a great film, but it was hit or miss for people. And I think that like that bam, bam, bam of those three films coming out, I do think that Solo probably had to be the first one to come out to gain the attention because a lot of people do feel burned, I don't know. I also just, I got to admit, like when going to the theater now and I'm just watching trailer after trailer of another action movie and another, comic based movie. And it's like, it's starting to feel like too much work. Like that's an element of it too, you know? Like there are so many things coming out that it's a little exhausting. And I think when you put three huge films like that, I don't think everyone goes like, I mean, let's be real. A lot of people don't even go to the movies, but once a few times per year, if that anymore.
Yeah.
Movie theaters themselves are having a hard time. And then you're asking people to go 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a lot to ask of us.
It is. And like we're nerds, like just in general, we don't like to go out. We want to see these from the comfort of our own like caves. You know what I mean? And for me, I think it's twofold. I think that they haven't set up the Star Wars universe to be a franchise heavy universe. I think the things that's always driven the Star Wars movies up until very recently is how spread out these movies are. You know, in between the first trilogy and the second one, it was like decades, right? And then like another decade between these trilogies. And then you start getting hit every year with the Star Wars movie, and it's kind of lost its like luster. You know, it's like, oh yeah, it's just another Star Wars movie. Where before it's like, you know, like a Star Wars movie is going to come out next month. Like how like crazy and mind blowing is we're going to be in the Star Wars universe again.
Yeah.
And then they kind of, so like they do that. Whereas Marvel, everything in the Marvel franchises are building to the next movie. Like there's cliffhangers and cliffhangers and cliffhangers, but in such a good way where they're like, you know, they suck Black Panther and Civil War. And so you're just like, man, I can't wait to see that Black Panther movie. Like now I'm excited to see that. Like they're so good at teasing what's coming next and getting you excited for, where Star Wars is like just looking towards the past to fill in the gaps of their history, which I think kind of works against them because
I can see that.
It's like you said, like a little thing with Han Solo, the reason his character works is because he does have a mysterious past that we don't know about. You know, he comes this story just like this. He's this bad boy with the Millennium Falcon. And like, we don't know if we can trust him or not. Well, now we're going to know. We're going to know that, yes, you can trust Han Solo. He does have that wholesome quality that we're probably going to learn about in the Solo. We're like, at the end of the day, he does show up for his friends.
Yeah.
And then the other part that I feel like I'm fatigued on is, I think, The Last Jedi. That was the worst Star Wars movie I've ever seen. And I'm including the first trilogy with that, because the first trilogy didn't ruin anything for me about the characters.
Right.
The Last Jedi ruined a lot for me. That's the first movie I've gone to in a while where I was like looking to like my left and right to the people in the movie theater, like, are you seeing this bullshit? Are you seeing this? Are you kidding me? So like, I don't trust him anymore. I do not trust Disney or whoever, what director has the franchise at that moment. I don't trust them to tell me a good story that I'm going to enjoy. Definitely not one that I'm going to lay down like $40 to go see.
That's the thing too, is I remember being a part of conversations after The Last Jedi where people were saying, wow, they're just going to get us for our money year after year and try to exhaust us as fans. People were, you know, some of the people I was around and saw the movie with were like, this is going to happen year over year. And they're going to soak, like they're going to use us for everything that we're worth. Yeah. And, you know, there's a part of that, you know, you want to go see these films because you want to be up to date with the story. But the pressure that's there means you at a certain point, you can't keep being let down. And I agree with you. I mean, there were actual points in The Last Jedi where I audibly laughed at point, and there was not supposed to be a joke. And I just started laughing out loud. And I probably pissed some people off around me, but I couldn't help myself. I mean, it was like a nervous laugh. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Dude, I will never not know that at one point in Luke Skywalker's life, he milked the nipple for some blue milk. Like, I will never like go see The New Hope and be like, that guy's going to grow up and milk a nipple. Yeah. Like, that's him. That's his life. I know it now. It's not going to turn out well. Like, they're like ruining this like beloved franchise, and I think that's what like Han Solo is, you know, like that main actor doesn't look that strong. The Queen of Dragons, I'm not showing up for her in a movie. Like, I don't know why everyone's so hyped about her. I don't think she's that good of an actress inside of Game of Thrones. Don't at me, bros. Like, I'm sorry, she's just not that strong of a character. I'm just like, I'm there for Woody Harrelson. If anything, I'm gonna show up and be like, yo, Woody Harrelson is next to Chewbacca. This is happening. This is my life. I'm down for that. And that seems like something I could enjoy from the comfort of my couch.
Yeah. So I think in general, what do you think? Are there any ways we can combat franchise fatigue? Like, do we have to go to like resorts in between films to like relax, kind of meditate, come back to one, and then go and see another film and, you know, feel things out?
You can't work in between Deadpool and Solo. You know, what we should have done is we should have like seen Deadpool, and that was like the start of a nice vacation. And like, we go relax to the spa treatment. We're hanging out by the pool. We're like, man, we got to see Solo after we knock down these Mai Tais. This is going to be a fantastic day for ourselves. Like, but in all seriousness, I think it has to do with the studios. I think that the studios have to be like, they're the arbiters of this. You know, they have to like take better care of these franchises. Marvel does a fantastic job at not wearing you out. You know, I think Fox doesn't really care with the Deadpool and the X-Men. They're just trying to make money. I think DC really doesn't care. They're just trying to pump out whatever they can. Disney doesn't care with Star Wars. They're just trying to pump out whatever they can. They've got to do a better job recognizing the strength of these franchises. Where Deadpool can probably work on its own, but we're like, Star Wars, it has to be a more special experience. We probably don't need Rogue One and Solo in between this trilogy that's going on right now. We probably just don't need these. These should probably be like 2 years after this trilogy finishes. We don't hear a lot, and you're like, you hear about this Rogue One coming out? What the hell? Yeah. Like, I didn't even know they're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then like I read somewhere that they're going to give Jon Favreau, the guy who did the Jungle Book and Iron Man 1 and Chef, they're giving him his own Star Wars trilogy. So we have a whole nother trilogy coming that's all based on like his way he wants to like work with the universe. Like, they're going to beat us down to the ground, Monica. Like, we don't have it in us to handle the Star Wars beatdown that we're about to experience.
We're going to be bruised, bloody, broken.
We can't even go to a convention without seeing lightsaber battles. Just like, the hell is this? Did Disney put this on? It's just about as good as those movies.
I'll be crawling my way to the theater, sobbing, tears just streaming out of my eyes. And with my last $20, I will buy that ticket and wonder where my sense of self went, you know?
Yeah.
But I'll do it.
I hope it's horrible and you hate it. I actually heard it was a fantastic movie too, which is like the only reason I want to go see it. They're like, people have told me like it's a really good heist movie. Like it's like a bank robbery. You know, the director did a fantastic job. Who directed it? Rod. God, why can't I think of his name ever?
Rod.
Good
old Rod.
He's the kid from Happy Days. Like, he did the directing. Like, he came in and saved the movie. Maybe that's why it's that, like, you know, there was a lot of news articles of how bad the directing was going on. They brought him in to fix the stuff. Ron Howard.
Ron Howard.
Yeah. I think hearing your click of it was like, pull this out of your brain so you're not embarrassed, Brian. So like, I heard he like turned it around and like made a really good movie out of this, but like, I don't even know when I'm going to see Solo this week. I got a whole week to go see it. I'm like, yeah, but like, do I really just, you know, not want to sit around the house on Tuesday night? That kind of sounds like a good idea.
Well, I'm gonna get it in. I will get it in. But oh Jesus. But it's not going to be Fast and Furious. You know what I mean? Another franchise that went on way too long.
Okay. Oh, you don't think we needed 7 Fast and Furious?
What do you think I'm talking about, Brian?
Nothing. Franchises. You don't think we needed 8 of those?
Okay. Well, that's it for episode 62.
We're done. Episode 61 of the Backspace Nomads podcast. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us today. You can find us on Twitter at Backspace Nomads. Or maybe in a movie theater this week, watching Solo. Be sure to check us out next week for episode 62. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.